And now the 419 with Gretchen Debbacher, Matt Kllum, and Kevin Mullen.
Welcome into the 419, Season 1, Episode 1.
Yes.
419, powered by WGTE and presented by Wetro Wealth Management. I'm Kevin Mullen, alongside Gretchen Debbacher and Matt Kllum. Hello.
Good morning.
Happy New Year.
We made it to WGTE.
We did. It's amazing.
This is, I say Season 1, but it's Season 3 for us because we did a podcast called The 419 for the last 2 years. For our audience that may be new to the program, this may be truly Episode 1 for them. We're going to take some time to get to introduce ourselves to the new audience, get a chance to introduce the show, but why don't we talk about kind of where this show came from? And I guess I'm going to start with you, Matt, because I feel like you were really the connecting point between a couple different swirling ideas that became the 419.
Well, a couple things also, not to put any pressure on us, but Season 3 is really when the character arc starts going. The Season 3 of The Wire was arguably its best. This is going to be like The Wire. Which is a good segue into describing our show.
It's nothing like The Wire.
I will tell you that
we're going to jump the shark here in Season 3.
That's right.
Yeah.
I hope pure examples of all of our nature. All of us, or none of us, have taken credit for this, because I said, Kevin and Gretchen got together and said we should do something like Smartless, but talk about our great city and our great friends and people doing great stuff. And they said, well, how did Kevin and Gretchen know one another? And I was like, oh, I introduced them. And I was like, well, so the reality of it, or truth of it is that it's just the genesis of, and one of the great things about living in a town our size, right? So you get to know everyone, you can participate, and this story's about that. So there's enough drivel out there, there's enough bad news. Our phones are filling up with it as we sit here, but there's so much good stuff happening and great people, and the three of us have been really lucky to be able to participate in things, be bystanders in things, and I hope that some things like this create new things. So that's sort of how I think about the show.
So Matt referenced Smartless,
Yes.
Popular podcast, but people may not be familiar with it. I'm actually surprised. I meet people every day that I describe our podcast and I use Smartless as the explanation.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know what you're
We should
talking
just tell
about.
them it's our idea from now on.
Perfect, I like it.
Yeah.
So why don't you explain, so there's a specific kind of niche piece of Smartless that we've stolen to try to tell stories in a unique way. Why don't you explain what that is?
Yes, and it allows us to sort of have these spontaneous conversations with the people that we bring on, and it's because the other two hosts don't know who the one host is bringing on, and we rotate. And people ask us all the time, is it really a secret? And it truly is. One time, Matt and I invited the same person, and so then we tricked him about that. But we don't know who the person is. They come on, and we just have a conversation about who they are, what they're doing, and what they're doing great for Toledo.
It's authentic, it's unscripted, and it's us being who we are. Truly loving our community and genuinely curious about the people that make it better.
After hours of heavy editing,
Oh, yes.
it is who we are.
Yeah,
That's
perfect.
right.
That's right.
Yeah, I like it.
Yep.
All right, so this episode is going to be
That
a
was my
little
chair.
bit different. This episode will be a little bit different than maybe some of our other episodes.
Yes.
We're not going to have a surprise guest every episode
Right.
on this show, but we will do that once a week to still continue to pay homage to kind of where we started. But on this particular episode, we're going to turn the cameras, turn the microphones, turn the tables on the three of us. And so we're going to take a time for two of us to interview the third host. And when we come back on the other side of this break, you crazy fools get to know me. So
What a lifetime dream.
if you come back and Matt's not here, it's because he's walked out and he's like, I don't want to be a part of that. So, hey, this is the 419, powered by WGTE and presented by Wetro Wealth Management. We'll be right back with Getting to Know Me, Kevin Mullen.
To me, community means connecting to others.
What will it really take to bring peace to Toledo's neighborhoods?
We're a community committed to education. Discover new ideas, dive into exciting subjects, and engage with the world around you.
It's all chapters in a book. I would send them personally a T-shirt. Crime doesn't pay in the Old West End, pass it on. That's how we cleaned up the neighborhood.
Brings back memories that you don't think are there, you know.
WGTE Public Media invites you to Get Out and Play Day.
The people of Toledo have really become family. You know, they walk in and it's just like, hey, it's so good to see you.
Hello there and welcome to a WGTE Public Media Town Hall meeting.
WGTE, where you come to watch, listen, and learn.
I love PBS Kids.
Welcome back into the 419, presented by Wheatro Wealth Management, and of course, now in 2026, powered by WGTE. Kevin Mullen, Gretchen Debbacher, Matt Kllum. All right, so this is a chance for us to get to know the hosts and for us to introduce ourselves to the audience. So I'm gonna turn it over to you guys because you guys are supposed to, I don't know, I guess get to know me.
Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
Well, I know we hate to start at the beginning, but Kevin, you have been a lot of things, and we'll get to that presumably in the middle or end, you know, like one would. But you are born and raised here. Talk to me a little bit about the Mullen, am I pronouncing that correctly?
That's right.
Household.
It's Kevin.
That's right.
Yes.
It's not Mullen.
No.
I thought that movie was about your family.
Yeah.
And it was scary.
Yeah, it's Mullen is a little bit different than my actual.
Well, tell us how it's
upbringing.
different.
Well, I grew up in Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
so that's a little different.
Yeah.
I am not a woman dressed as a man trying to fight in the army.
Okay.
There's a little
As
different.
far as we know.
That's right.
You know what? The episode is still young. So, but no, grew up in Pennsylvania, and I've got 3 brothers, and most of them, I shouldn't say most of them, one of them still lives here in Toledo. My oldest brother is up outside of Detroit.
You're in the middle?
I am 3 of 4.
Okay.
So it is Scott, my oldest brother,
Yeah.
Matt, who lives here in Toledo, myself, and then my younger brother Stephen is a musician.
You're not going to be able to
and
get
he's
that
in
entertainment
Nashville.
on other shows, guys. Those are all the first names of Kevin's brothers.
Yeah, that's right.
I
Well,
love it.
you
asked the
about
question.
my family.
I did.
This is not how we can treat our guests.
Sorry, I'll start again.
It actually is.
Oh, okay.
It
Who is the
actually
handsomest?
So this is funny.
Yeah.
My parents are moving, and I was there helping them.
Yeah.
And my dad actually introduced me to a complete stranger as, this is my son, Kevin. He might be the smartest in the family. He's not the best looking. And I was like, I mean, I know it's true.
And he knew you were there?
But I don't need you to say that to
Right,
other people.
right.
Like, don't introduce me that way. But
Yeah.
so I've long said that it's me.
Okay. That doesn't surprise me.
So
in the
that must have
slightest.
especially hurt you when you heard your dad say that.
Right, that's right. No, we all have the same running joke when we call my parents. And obviously caller ID exists, so they know who's calling. But
Sure.
it's like, hey, it's your favorite son.
Yeah.
And inevitably, my dad every time is like, oh, Stephen, good to
Yeah,
hear from
all
you.
right.
I'm like, no,
Yeah.
that's
Your dad's a card.
that's
We've
a
met him.
little too close to home.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, grew up in Pennsylvania. We ended up moving to South Toledo as we got older. In preparation of going to St. John's. So I went from St. John's to Miami University, and really with sort of the sole
In a
purpose.
single day.
That's right, one day. That's actually how it happened.
Yeah.
You tend to move on one day.
Yeah.
But the sole purpose really of me going to Miami was to never come back.
Sure.
And I wanted to work in television. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to do this in a big city, and you know, Toledo will be in the rearview mirror forever. And you know, I think the more time I spent away from Toledo, the more time I saw big cities and the things that I thought I was seeking, and I realized that they were here. I realized that they existed here in Toledo. And you grow up hearing people disparage Toledo, and so you start to believe it. And then when you start to see other things, you're like, actually, this place is pretty great. And not just because you're sitting next to me, but because you paid me to say this. Like, I mean, the metro parks are a true gem in our community, and you don't pay attention to that when you're a kid.
Agreed.
No.
Right? That's not. We went to Wildwood, and it existed, but like you don't realize what a gift that is. And so when I came back to Toledo, worked in television, worked at Fox Toledo. I like to joke that I was part of the witness protection program at Toledo Media, that I worked at Fox Toledo, NBC 24, and 1230. I had a radio show
How
on
about
1230.
that? So you literally reached tens of people.
That's right. My parents legitimately weren't even.
They weren't
tuned
aware
that
you moved
audience.
back.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They're just learning this today.
That they have a son.
But I started in television because I grew up watching I wanted to be in television because I grew up watching the legends in Toledo use their voice to make the community a better place. And I was like, that's what I want to do. And
Never any fear of that? You were ready for prime time?
I was always the kid that when we would play a board game as a family, and
You'd
we're
be the
like,
announcer.
I was
host.
the announcer every
Yeah.
time. It was like, we want to do Trivial Pursuit? Great, give me the cards, I'll read them. And
I
it
don't
was-
know, Dad, tell us, there's not an announcer in a single board game.
No, there is in Jeopardy, and I would always also try to be Alex, but it's because I didn't know the answers to any of the questions.
Yeah, neither does he. They're on cards.
That's true.
Yeah.
I wasn't going
That's
to bring
true.
that
That
up,
was
but I
my
did
that was
way.
the scam that I pulled.
So I really like to tell people, like, when I talk to kids now about career development and thinking about your future, when I was a very little kid, my dream job was to be own a smoothie bar on the beach.
Yeah, sure.
And so I like to sort of unpack that to say what I really wanted to do is bring joy to people and make a great space better. And so what makes the beach better? A nice cold drink. And so I don't know how to make a good smoothie, and I certainly don't live on the beach. But I like to think that when I wake up every day, I'm doing my part to make a great place better.
Well, you're one of the most entrepreneurial people that I've encountered. You're a very hardworking person. You now have your own.
ADD.
I believe that's part of it.
And actually,
Bless
that's
your-
what powers the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bless your wife, Danny.
Yes.
Your beautiful bride. You have 3 children.
I do.
And what is your full-time job now? What do you do?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
So I've got.
Because I think it could be about 7 things.
That's true. So I've got a consulting company. I work with nonprofits and small businesses to help them better tell their story and make more money. I got into fundraising after leaving TV, after leaving media. I got into nonprofit PR marketing and then fundraising. And so I take the lessons and the skills that I've developed throughout my career and lend those to organizations that I believe in, that I think are doing great work. And so I get the privilege of working with some great nonprofit organizations in town. I also have the privilege of serving as the PA announcer for the University of Toledo. I announce.
That's a good segue, or at least you certainly have a wealth of talent, but your voice is something that is not ubiquitous, right? So yelling at your children in a radio voice or directing them to do things, is that a wildly different experience? Can you tell Gretchen to take the garbage out?
And how often do they record you?
I had a boss that would tell me that he could tell when I was selling something because I would go from like my normal talking voice and I'd walk in and I'd be like, if you have a second, I'd like to talk to you about an idea I have.
Yeah,
And
sure.
it's like, I'm not looking to buy car insurance from you, so leave me alone.
I think I've heard that voice from you. Yeah, I think that's how we're sitting here today.
Yes, it
That
is.
might be true.
I think
That
that's
might be
pretty
true.
much what happened.
Over time, when I first got into announcing, I mean, I was a caricature of an announcer. I mean, it was bad, and it still may be. But I have, in time, my speaking voice and my announcing voice have sort of blended into one, and so this is just what you're stuck with. And I wake up like this. Like this is, it drives Danny crazy.
Sure.
That,
In a good
she
way.
needs. Well, I hope so. She's still here, but she needs coffee to get her day going. I don't drink coffee, and so I just wake up like,
On.
good morning. How's everybody doing?
Well, that sounds exhausting.
Yeah, that's right. All right, speaking of exhausting,
Yes.
You guys have got to be exhausted getting to know me, but I appreciate the time and opportunity to introduce myself to our new audience here on WGTE. We're also going to be introducing the audience to a couple of our friends, as we will do throughout this show. When we come back on the other side of this break, we have our first surprise guest.
Yes.
But our first ever guest on the podcast, fittingly, will be the first to fill this chair on the new show, Powered by WGTE. We will be right back with the 419, Powered by WGTE, presented by Witro Wealth Management.
Support for the 419 comes from Witro Wealth Management, where we understand that your financial path is personal. Advisory services are offered through Capital Investment Advisory Services, LLC. Securities offered through Capital Investment Group, Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. More information at WitroAdvisors.com. And from WorkSpring, supporting healthy and vibrant businesses, one workplace at a time. More information at workspring.org. Join us every Wednesday for Wellness Wednesday, sponsored by WorkSpring. The 419 is also sponsored by Toledo Refining Company, serving Northwest Ohio and East Toledo for over 125 years. More information at ToledoRefiningCompany.com. And TARDA, celebrating its 55th year of connecting Northwest Ohioans to their community. More information at TARDA.com. Tune in every Thursday for the Toledo.com Community Calendar presented by TARDA. Interested in supporting the 419 and other great local programming at WGTE? Visit WGTE.org.
Welcome back into the 419, powered by WGTE, presented by Witro Wealth Management. We are joined now by two longtime friends of the podcast, now forced to be friends of the new show here on WGTE.
And all three of us forever.
Well, that's true. That's you signed that contract,
Oh,
right?
I didn't read it.
Sorry you're hearing about it for the first time right now.
Mary Brucker and John Amato. Mary, our first ever guest on the podcast.
And
The second.
That's right.
yes.
So the first ever three-time guest.
You're a three-peat.
Now, the first episode we taped, no one has or will ever hear. I'm making sure that it doesn't go anywhere.
That was
Yeah.
not a good one. But you've gotten progressively better.
Well, I appreciate the generosity.
I mean, we're still doing it.
Yeah.
So, Mary, why don't, for folks that may not be familiar with you, I don't know why, they should be, but why don't you introduce yourself to our audience?
I'm Mary Brucker. I own a company called Imagine 901, who we do large event production, corporate and community culture, and I love the city. I also own a children's theater company. I did this because that's part of my gift that I'm bringing for you.
Nice.
Jeff, and literally a lover of this community. So I think that's one of the reasons why it made sense to be on the show. And I'm so proud of you guys. This is so awesome. Look at your faces.
Well, the styrofoam says it.
It's I grabbed it.
Yeah.
It's like snowing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Am I, like, maybe I'm just now paying attention, or...
Mary.
Mary, right. No, I mean, Imagine 901 is growing.
It is, yes. I took the leap of faith to start my own company, and since then, now I have employees, and we've expanded beyond Toledo, which is amazing. But, you know, our goal really, like yours, is to show people that you don't have to just create experiences, you're creating moments. Why are you laughing at me?
Because I just told him 3 minutes.
Oh, yeah, out
That's how
loud.
long you have to answer this question.
Oh, all right, let me start again.
Mary.
Mary, yeah, let's start again.
John Amato with us as well. John from Jute Mode. Speaking of entrepreneurs, obviously kind of took the leap right out of the gate into your own company. Why don't you tell people, if they're not familiar with Jute Mode, again, I will say, what rock have you been living under? But tell us about Jute Mode.
Jute Mode, we do custom branded merch, so that's screen printing, embroidery, promotional products. We do that for any business or organization, a lot of local businesses. A lot of people know us as well for our retail brand. We sell clothing for people who are proud to be from the Midwest, Ohio, Michigan, and specifically Toledo. The one design that I think most people know us for says "You will do better in Toledo." It's a recreation of the slogan from 1913.
Now, when they were putting that sign up, were you excited?
Yes, I was. I remember the day. We all went out there. It was great.
Yeah.
It's a cold winter day.
So one of the things that we're doing for our guests when they come on the show, and we have these amazing bookshelves, and they're mostly empty, but we're going to ask our guests to bring something that they may want to leave behind on the bookshelves. And so we've asked both Mary and John to bring something
In true friend
for us.
fashion, we'd like to give you an opportunity to give us gifts.
Yes.
I was like, the way you delivered that is exactly the way it's played out.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that I like the way it sounded.
Oh, really? Did it sound?
Yeah. We're giving our guests the opportunity.
Yeah. Cash mostly.
That's right.
Yeah.
Perfect. We love it.
That's backstage.
So why don't you talk about, you've brought something.
I did.
Wrapped in
Yeah, thanks for giving it
environmentally friendly styrofoam.
Yeah.
Well, I originally was going to bring a fire truck to honor my friend Tommy
Yes.
and his passing.
So sad.
That you have all made fun of.
Yeah.
Who
If
is
you
my
don't-
imaginary friend.
Yeah.
If you don't know the story of Tommy, I recommend you go back and listen to season 1, episode 1
Yes.
of the 419 podcast.
It's one of my favorite moments of all of our shows, which is a singular list. But it was so funny, and it evolves in real time. And is a classic of having an improv show. Is we find out that Mary has this imaginary friend who then perishes in all ways in a house fire.
Yes.
Yeah.
And her whole family goes along with it.
Yeah.
Yes, the creative mind, you can't
You
tamper
can't.
that. Yes.
You can't.
So this I brought because it reminded me of my life, and also it reminds me of you guys, because you guys are dreamers and believers and wishers. So
It's Tommy's ashes.
it's not.
It's a photo of
Oh my
Mary.
God.
Oh my gosh.
It is Aladdin's lamp.
That's so cool,
So if you
Mary.
love it, dreams will come true, and you guys are making dreams come true by telling these stories. So
Thank
That's
you
heavy.
so much.
I know.
Yeah, thank you.
Maybe it really works.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't try it now,
Yeah.
because you only get 3 wishes.
Yeah. I'll take them all.
Yeah. And you can't wish for more wishes.
Yeah.
Right.
John, on to your crappy gift.
It's not a crappy
It's
gift,
not
John.
crappy, John.
Hey, I
Something
get
from
it.
your cupboard, I see, John.
Yeah.
Actually, if I can interrupt,
There's still some soap in it.
John was my guest on the
Yes, he
podcast,
was.
and it was an absolutely perfect example of bringing on your friend and your guest and realizing that you knew nothing about him at all.
Yeah.
Which is
That's my takeaway from the episode as well.
Yes. But a dear friend to me and many countless others. But talking a little bit of what you brought on, I know that we talked about You'll Do Better in Toledo, but the essence
Yeah.
of.
Yeah, well, I think it represents what this podcast is about. I think what makes Toledo better is its people, and you guys are highlighting all of the really interesting and successful people in Toledo, and it's great to have that reminder because it's easy to be detached, and as I like to say, Toledo's better because of its people, and you are a representation of that.
And you actually listen to the podcast.
I do.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the podcast. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I'm excited that you'll be on more, and every episode I enjoy.
I also
Thank you,
want to
John,
out
so
John
much.
a little bit. Unlike me, John has all boys, and episodically I will receive a picture of just some boy with blood streaming down his face. It's at all hours of the day. So
We've put him in wrestling for that reason. So.
yeah, sure.
You might as well try and get something out of it,
Right,
right? Or make it
exactly.
organized chaos.
Right.
Well, John, I'm choked up. I'm really choked up by your support.
Yeah.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Mary.
Thank
we
you, guys.
appreciate you being here
Yes.
on day 1. Nobody we want to start it with more than John.
Yeah,
And also Mary.
yeah.
We'll be right back at the 419, powered by WGTE, presented by Witro Wealth Management.
Every day when you walk.
You laughed with us. You learned with us.
Hi, neighbor.
We made sure
we're
your
together
childhood
again.
was special. Memories that could only be provided by PBS. For generations, we've given you programs that made a difference. Programs that entertain, inform, and inspired. And today is no different. This is WGTE Public Media in Toledo. It's where you belong.
Welcome back into the 419, powered by WGTE, presented by Witro Wealth Management. I'm Kevin Mullen alongside Gretchen Debbacher and Matt Kllum. Taking a moment to get to know your hosts on episode 1. For our new audience that may not know who we are, we thought it'd be fitting to take our first episode for a chance to us to introduce ourselves to you, and what better way to do it than the way we've done our show for the last 2 years, which is just fire random insane questions at our guests. And so,
As if we've never talked to each other.
that's right. You know what? I mean, you talked about it with John Amato. Like, you know, you bring a friend on, and you start asking questions, and you realize how little we actually know.
It's
about
happened every time.
Yes, it has.
Yeah.
So, it's pronounced Kllum.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So, all right, we're going to turn the cameras, turn the lights on you this time, Matt. Gretchen, you want to lead off with the first question?
I guess. No, I'm just kidding.
Matt likes to start in the beginning.
He does like to start in the beginning, but I'm going to skip born, raised, Toledo.
Yep.
And then you went on a sports scholarship Division I soccer, if I'm
Well,
not
we played.
mistaken.
I got to go
College.
to. Went to studied in New Hampshire to play, which was certainly pretty exciting. I played at Central Catholic. I stuck with soccer because I got cut from everything else. In full transparency, I would have played, given up all the soccer to play 5 minutes of college basketball. But yeah, I met great friends. I got to go to New Hampshire, which was thrilling. So yeah, it was great.
And then when you came back to Toledo, or you lived in Chicago for a number of years after that, right?
Yeah, I moved sort of all over. Not dissimilar to most, I graduated college without any idea what I wanted to do, although I knew I didn't want to just do what I studied.
What did you study?
I have a degree in history and I have a degree in advertising and public relations from Marietta College is where I finished. And my first job I took was a busboy at Real Seafood Toledo because I didn't have any money and I was interviewing, so my parents were thrilled and proud, as you can guess. But I actually did love it. There was a theater portion of it and you got to help people, which I liked. I like to serve. So I was with that company. It ended up for 8 years. They moved me all over the country. I helped open I helped do their openings. If there was a unit that was struggling, I would inevitably be sent there. So yeah, it was, I was grateful to them. And I got to live all over the country. Moved to Chicago to kind of cut out on my own with some other individuals that I'd met. So yeah, for someone who didn't know what they wanted to do, I felt really fortunate to have that opportunity, and I will tell you that I was only good at it, or lucky to be good as a result of starting out at a really low level.
I always hear, and I say it myself, that like everybody should work in food service. From your perspective, why is that true?
Yeah, I think, I don't know if it's food service, but service, right? A couple things. It's humbling, and I think that you do, and this will be germane to you as a St. John's student because it is in service of others, right? I think that it's humbling and it is at a core, as trite as it's going to sound, how we should look at serving each other. And most of my career hasn't been in the food business any longer, but in the essence of it, I'd like to think that I am serving others.
So let's talk about your career now.
Yeah.
So you've become a really sort of, I don't want to use the word mascot in a disparaging way, but
Sure.
kind of the public face,
You
the
don't
mascot
wear a costume.
Yeah.
of Metro Parks Toledo.
Yeah, I am one of the cogs in a great wheel. I've been there for 8 years. It's a park system I grew up in. You mentioned Wildwood on the show. I grew up in Wildwood also, visiting my grandparents at least one day a week. They live right behind the Manor House, which was the Stranahan estate when they moved there. My dad and his brothers broke in and played there, so that's where I played. So I've always had real affinity or had a knowledge of how important public green space is to people. We're not outdoors people. The Kllums didn't hunt or backpack or anything like that, but play, man, I get that 24/7. So I work with an amazing team that does amazing things. My boss is exceptional, and no individual would want to take credit for all of our stuff. But it's actually 100 years of individuals that have allowed for mid to small town to have the best park system in the United States, and that was a distinction given to us by the National Park.
I know your role has evolved over the years that we've known each other, but at one point you had described yourself as sort of being, overseeing everything that isn't planted in the ground.
Well, yeah. So at least most things outward facing, right? I mean, we've grown so much. So there's multiple people doing that now. But yeah, we work. About 250 people work for the Metro Parks, or on the behalf of Lucas County. So all of us are serving 420,000 people, right? We get millions of guests visit annually, and I've got to tell you that everyone from the very top of the food chain to individuals that open the gates, everyone I've met for the entire 8 years cares about the experience that the guests have there. They take real pride in it, and there's no cheating that, right? You can tell when you go to a Metro Park,
right?
And that's not a criticism of other parks, but you can tell.
It's in everything.
Yeah, man.
It is.
So I get to talk about great work, and that's been a real blessing in my life.
And you are proud of how clean the bathrooms are.
Yeah, is all the extravagant stuff we've got, right? From ice skating ribbons to treehouse villages. People care about clean bathrooms and safe trails that are well maintained, and we have the best of those in the country. So you can throw all the sexy stuff at them, but it's the core deliverable that people really have come to expect from us, and by the way, they deserve.
All right, that's Matt Kllum. We'll come back on the other side of the break with another surprise guest,
Yes.
longtime friend of the program
2.
and friend of us.
Yes.
And yeah,
We're excited.
nailed it. All right,
Thanks,
this is
Matt.
the 419, powered by WGTE, presented by Witro Wealth Management.
Introducing The Local Thread, a community news series uniting voices and storytellers from across the region. In partnership with La Prensa, the Toledo Free Press, the Sojourner's Truth, Toledo Public Schools, and veteran journalist Jerry Anderson. The Local Thread brings you stories and conversations that connect our community. Hear it weeknights at 7 on FM 91 with early access on podcast platforms each morning. The Local Thread, only on WGTE.
Welcome back into the 419, powered by WGTE, presented by Witro Wealth Management. We've got 2 more of our dear friends joining us here on our inaugural episode
The
here
level
on WGTE.
of icon status has just gone from 0 to 1,001.
For our previous guest, what Gretchen
I'm
meant
just talking about
was,
this segment.
That's a high 0, not in the traditional sense of nothing.
Welcome, Chris Peterson and Rhonda Sewell.
Thank you.
We're so happy to have you.
What an honor. It is. Well, I'm just going to start.
Okay.
Chris and I met before she moved to Toledo.
I did.
Remember, we were in
Hey guys, it's our
Baltimore?
show.
Yeah, at the airport.
Anyway, we met out to dinner.
Yeah.
We went to
Oh,
dinner.
yeah.
And she said, I just got a job in Toledo. I'm like, I live in Toledo. And then the rest is history.
That is crazy. I never knew that.
First Toledo
Yes,
friend.
yes.
And you still came. Yeah. What a delight.
I love that we've joked prior to the taping of this episode. We've joked that Chris is going to replace one of us.
Yes.
I don't know that we thought that.
Or all of us.
That Rhonda and Chris were going to replace all of us.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
both first and last. So
It wouldn't
it'll
be
be
that
the
hard.
419 with your hosts,
Our
Rhonda Sewell and Chris
podcast debuts in
Peterson.
January.
Yeah.
We just announced it here on our
Perfect.
show.
Awesome.
It's called the 420.
Rhonda. Oh.
That's one more than that.
Yeah, no, I knew what that was. Rhonda, so you work at Toledo Museum of Art.
I do.
You've been an icon in Toledo. I think in every role you've been in.
Which is hundreds.
You have helped really transform that organization. Why don't you talk about the work you're doing with TMA?
Thank you so much, and that is such a compliment. I am the Director of Advocacy and External Affairs. And so what that means, I'm a glorified lobbyist, and I try to bring in money from the state and the feds, sometimes local, but more so state capital budget dollars, grant money from the federal government.
Anyone.
Well, we've done really well
Yes, you have.
with the state.
Yes.
I have to commend both sides of the aisle. When it comes to arts and culture sector, the arts are looked upon as sort of a bipartisan kind of entity, and it is really a pleasure when we see that kind of bipartisanship, especially in a divisive world. And so it's a pleasure. I love what I do at the museum.
And you're great at it.
It shows.
Thank you.
Well, I think the fear is always that the arts is viewed as optional, right? Is that's an extra, right? If we've got to make cuts, that's where we'll cut from the arts because we need core infrastructure. But I think the work that you and the team at TMA have done is sort of established that art is core infrastructure.
Exactly.
Not optional.
Yeah, it's not optional. I sit on a state board, the Creative Ohio, and they're the lobbying arm for the Ohio Arts Council. And we brought in $1 million more in the budget for arts and culture. That's a testament that the advocacy is working. We're showing how important arts, is to everyone, to all of our lives.
And 2 years ago, that would have not landed with me. So at the risk of overstating it,
Yeah,
when all you're
yeah.
hearing is things being cut,
Yeah.
and additive is not to be diminished. So
Yeah, that's so
kudos
true.
to the
That's so
leadership
true.
at TMA. I know that you are a team player, but the Arts Commission, which you played a vital role in, it is truly a nod to our show, right? I mean, it's what makes Toledo great and unique.
It's amazing. I've been a board member, the immediate past president, and the governance chair now of the Arts Commission since 2018. It is a board that I believe in, and I say it openly to the board members. Aside from Toledo Children's Hospital board, it is one of the most meaningful boards I've ever served on in the Toledo area. It's really diving deep into community. I am a board member with Gretchen.
So their standards have lowered.
And so it really is. It really
Over time,
is.
things happen.
It's amazing. And they were once on our campus, and now they're over by the library at 1000 Adams. So we're really, it's just a new era in the museum culture, but also in the arts culture.
Yeah.
Live arts also moving off of our campus. Yeah.
And
Rhonda,
Chris,
we appreciate you. Go for
yes,
it.
Chris, you and your daughter Riley were guests of our podcast as well, as was Rhonda, at one of our amazing live events that were at the Metro Parks.
At the Metro Park.
Yes.
Thank you.
Glass City Metro
You've
Park.
been a friend to all of us for so long. Thank you so much for being here for our first show. As a true professional in broadcasting, I just cannot believe that you're sitting here witnessing this.
This is so amazing for me.
I'm less
It's so
intimidated
amazing.
this time.
Yeah.
Only because I was so intimidated last time.
That is so silly.
So silly. It's like, hello, Chris.
I have told several people the story, and I've said this to Chris before, that so I talked about kind of my history and starting in TV, and when I talk about the legend of Toledo that I wanted to live up to, Chris is both the reason why I got into and out of television.
Yeah, sure.
Because the bar was set so high for what I expected when I got in. And I wasn't able to live up to that. And it was like, now I got to find a different lane. I'm not going to do it in Chris's way, but yeah.
Well, let me double down and make you both feel even more uncomfortable, but a nod to what a great small town we have. I have had the opportunity to speak about the two of you in 2 separate videos celebrating you.
So true.
And talking about a challenge or feeling intimidated. It's no secret that I tell the people that I love them. You know I love you two very much. But being able to represent the wattage that you bring to something made me cry on the video. And when I said that in order for Rhonda to have spoken, she certainly should be known for listening. That is how I feel about both of you. This is a show that way it's made better by WGTE and our partners and my 2 colleagues here, but you are the essence of what this is supposed to be about. So not to beat this to death, but thank you both.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's not difficult to be happy and love life in Toledo, right? I mean, it is not hard to find ways to get involved. It's not hard to find ways to help. People want to help. And that's the most wonderful thing about this community is that all you have to do is ask. You don't even sometimes have to ask. People are just there,
That's
right?
right.
And maybe more so than anybody else in our community, Chris, you could have gone anywhere.
Aw, thanks.
And you chose to
And
stay
haven't
here.
asked to.
Because I'm happy here. I love Toledo. A necklace that says Toledo on it. It's got the little map with the Swarovski crystal right where we live. I love this city, and it has given me so much and my family so much. And, oddly enough, you were talking about how you just, went to Miami and that was your way out, right? You're not coming back to Toledo. My daughter felt the same way. And Riley was a guest with me the last time that we were chatting on this show, and she intended to fully go someplace else and live. She may end up someplace for a while, we don't know where our lives are gonna take us, but she loves Toledo too. And she came back and she's like, it's kind of different as an adult. And so I do think when you have lived other places, I've traveled a lot, I've been a lot of other places, how special this place is. We have some of the most amazing institutions. We have the Art Museum and the zoo and the Metro Parks, and the list goes on and on for quality of life here.
Well, we appreciate both of you being here. We appreciate your friendship so much. Gretchen is such a welcoming hostess.
Yes.
That she's asked you to bring gifts.
Well,
what
I knew
do you have
neither of
for
them
us?
would show up without a gift, so that's fine.
Well, I brought something that is really, really special. So every year, the Toledo Museum of Art creates a glass goblet, and we are the Glass City, correct?
Yes.
So this is the 17th annual limited edition goblet for the Toledo
my
Museum
gosh.
of Art. It was hand blown.
That's beautiful.
By, isn't it beautiful? Hand blown by our assistant director of the Glass Studio, Alan Iwamura. And this is just, and I love that it's pink, Gretchen. You know,
I
that's one of
love
my
that it's
favorite
pink.
colors. But this, I hope, will sit in a place of honor on your
Yes.
shelf. And I'm just so happy for the three of you.
Thank you
I really
so much.
am.
That's so beautiful. Thank you to
Chris
the
brought
artist
us,
as well.
and
Bath
then
and Body Works.
Yes, I did.
Some lotion.
And soaps for everyone.
A bath bomb.
Yes, no. You know that one of the things near and dear to my heart, and actually, Gretchen, the way that we met
Yes.
is Komen Race for the Cure.
Yep.
Yes.
So this will be my 32nd year as honorary
Oh my gosh.
chairperson. And so I brought you all my feather
Yes.
boa.
You're
Oh my goodness.
This is serious.
Whoa.
Wow.
So so Gretchen
So many
joked.
pictures of her.
Rhonda, move that crappy goblet.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
So Gretchen joked that she wanted Chris to bring one of her Emmys
I did.
for us.
I
And I was
fully-
like, there's no way she's going to bring that. Like, that means a
I'm
lot
like, what
to
about
her.
our Morrow Award?
Well,
She
I
could
will
bring that.
say,
This is
I
major.
thought about bringing an Emmy, and then I thought, well, they're going to win one of their own one of
Okay.
these days.
Oh.
So
Yes.
you don't need mine.
Listen, I prefer the boa.
And
Thank you.
I know, Matt, you will be tempted to take this home with you and wear it around the house, but please try to just leave it here.
Well,
with us.
5 is enough for my house, so I don't need a 6th.
Rhonda,
Thank you
Chris,
so
thank you
much.
so
Thank
much.
you. Thank
When we
you.
come back, we're going to get to know our third host,
Oh, boy.
Gretchen Debbacher. Stay tuned. This is the 419, powered by WGTE, presented by Witro Wealth Management.
Every day when you walk.
You laughed with us. You learned with us.
Hi, neighbor.
We made sure your
together
childhood
again.
was special. Memories that could only be provided by PBS. For generations, we've given you programs that made a difference. Programs that entertained, informed, and inspired. And today is no different. This is WGTE Public Media in Toledo. It's where you belong.
Welcome back into the 419, powered by WGTE, presented by Witro Wealth Management. I'm Kevin Mullen alongside Matt Kllum, and it's time to get to know our third host, Gretchen Debbacher.
It's very odd to have you both looking at me in this way.
Yeah, we generally try to pretend like... No, we generally try to pretend like you're not here.
I understand. I prefer that.
Born and raised in Toledo?
No.
Really?
I know.
Matt knew
Okay,
this.
hang on. I did not.
Yes.
We've spent how much time together? I legitimately did not know this.
Topeka, Kansas,
Which is the capital.
the capital.
Okay.
We moved here when I was in 4th grade. My dad got transferred here.
The
He
4th
got a
grade is
job.
as high as you can go in Kansas.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had done the education system
That's
there.
right. That's right.
And so,
Nailed it.
And moved here in 4th grade, and my dad worked at Dana Corporation. That's why we moved here. Went to Oklahoma first, and then Toledo.
As one would.
Yeah. So I basically consider it, but not the place of my birth.
We're going to skip around, but like also, I mean, we've had a couple of guests that have this entrepreneurial background.
Uh-huh.
You, of course, have that in your blood as well.
Yes.
If people don't know, what's the notable business that you started here in Toledo?
I don't know how notable it is anymore, but in the early 90s, my family and I started and ran Sufficient Grounds at coffee houses in West Toledo, Sylvania, Perrysburg area. So we did that for about 10 years. It was tons of fun, lots of fun.
How many local coffee shops were there?
None.
When?
No Starbucks even.
How many people to this day tell you they miss it?
Probably at least, probably two people a month.
Sure.
Yeah, that
Right.
still will say they miss it, or they want a recipe for something we had, or
Yeah.
just last week someone asked me where.
But none of your family members are the ones.
No,
Yeah.
we don't speak.
That's right.
Well, that'll do it. Right?
Yeah.
Running
right.
a family business.
That's
will
right.
Be like, yeah,
That's
we're
right.
done.
Right. But where we got our coffee, so I think people still remember it. We talk about it still.
Yeah,
It was
sure, my family does
It was
as
a
well.
crazy thing that we attempted.
What was your favorite part about doing that?
I really loved the community aspect of it. The events. We had the mayor debates. We had this wall in the center of Cricket West that was called, we had put the free marketplace of ideas, and so people could put signs and posters. And
I'd forgotten that.
yeah, it was just, people came in and read the paper. It's just, that's how I met so many people that I know even now, just coming in and hanging out.
And you guys were where SIP
Yes,
is
we're,
now?
where SIP is now at Cricket West.
Does Courtney say thank you to you
Oh,
every
yeah.
time you come in?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just making sure.
I still have to pay for my coffee though, so that's
Well,
weird.
that's unacceptable. You can just like stash some
I know,
coffee in
that's
the
what I
back and you
said.
can just come
Yes.
and give me some of that?
Yes.
Where'd you get your beans from?
It's the guy retired. It was from Susan's Coffee and Tea Roasters in Akron, Ohio, was where we got it. Yep,
When, so you're an attorney.
I am.
When did that happen?
So
After the 30th person was burned.
I decided we needed to keep this in-house counsel. We had had the coffee houses for about 9 years. I had always wanted to be a lawyer since I was in 4th grade. And I had taken the LSAT and intended on going to law school, but then the coffee house took off. I mean, we had no idea it would. It was just like this literally insane thing my mom and sisters and I wanted to do.
Do you remember when the conversation started?
Right when I graduated college.
What was it around the dining room table?
Yeah, we were just like, hey, there's all these places everywhere that people are going to. Our friends are going to these places to hang out and study and stuff, and we think we should do it. And my mom and dad are like, great, let's go, let's try it. Anyway, I took the LSAT, was going to go to law school, but then it took off, so I didn't. And so 9 years later, I had to retake the LSAT, and then started going to UT at night in 2000, and graduated in 2003.
And talked about your law career today.
Today, I'm a solo practitioner. I mostly practice, almost exclusively practice state and federal criminal defense work.
Which is how we met.
That's how I met Matt. Yep.
That's not true.
And that's how I know most of my friends today.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's your dating strategy.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
I might recommend maybe jumping to the other side of
It
the
covers
aisle,
all
but-
things.
That's right, sure.
Yes.
What do you find most fulfilling about that work?
I have probably too much empathy. Maybe that's a thing. I think there's always two sides to every story. But also I have, and Matt will recognize this, Kevin, you probably will too since we've been working together, but I have crippling attention deficit problem. And I like to be multitasking it at all times.
Yeah.
And so being
Tasking is generous.
being a defense lawyer is I'm in court all day, every day, making
Yeah.
arguments, going to different courts, talking to different people, meeting with my clients, going to the jail. And so it's a lot of time on your feet, thinking on your feet, which I enjoy.
Sure.
Also very active in the community.
I am. Try to be.
Served on a number of boards and volunteered in different roles.
Yes.
What are some of those organizations that you love to support?
As Rhonda mentioned, I serve on the Arts Commission Board. I'm a trustee there. I first met Matt when I was serving on the board for the Toledo Botanical Garden. And I just recently started on the TAPA board, now called Toledo Live Arts Toledo. And I'm on the Toledo Bar Association board.
I don't think I knew that.
That also just started. Can't really take credit for anything there.
I mean, you could.
I could.
We
I
wouldn't
could,
know.
but I won't.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And you guys have been friends with
Yeah.
Gretchen and Matt for a long time.
Yeah, over a decade, if you can believe it.
It seems longer.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think the first time that we pulled together to talk about this podcast, it really was the first substantive conversation that I think you and I had.
Yes, but we have a friend in common who's
You're
my
gonna
friend
ask
Kelly
where on
is
the
your
family
second
tree-
cousin.
Thank you.
There you go. I got it right, finally.
I don't know that that's true.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm just thanking you for getting closer than I would have.
And it wasn't interesting anyway. So, and that's the
right.
show.
So it doesn't even matter.
But I think that's part of the beauty of Toledo.
It
right?
is.
Part of what I love is I say every day I see 7 people I know, and I meet somebody new.
Yeah.
And if that last piece ever changed,
Right.
like, that's the point that I probably have to.
Right. I think
Okay.
we have,
I think the set's already done.
for our audience, we have someone. Mayor, is there?
What is he
Is there-
doing?
Mayor Kapsikevich has walked on set. Hi.
Can we help you?
Can we?
Well, I wish you could. I got to be honest. When those of us down at City Hall heard about this and heard about what you were planning, our first instinct was to try to stop it.
That's understood.
Just imagine the damage that you could do to the civic discourse, and who knows what kind of fake news is going to be dispensed from this chair. So we first thought about reaching out to your friends to try to get them to talk you out of this. Realized you didn't have any friends.
Say that should have been brief.
Then we thought that maybe we could put some pressure on your funders, try to get your donor base and your funders to convince you to not do this.
We don't have them either.
Looking at the set, you obviously don't have any funders.
Not
so
on board yet.
As a last resort, I was just looking for some code violations, maybe some things that you could have violated within our code that would allow us.
And do you see anything? Are we in any trouble, do you think?
I don't see any code violations back there.
Okay.
I do think that now we know the genesis of your last campaign strategy. Mayor Kapsakevich, your last resort.
Yes, your last resort.
Am I saying that right?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. If you have no other choice, if you have no other options.
That's right. That bumper sticker was enormous.
Yes, because it included my last name, so of course it had to. I overheard part of the conversation that you were having before I walked in with
Your prop, which is classic, and
Your
we love
wrench.
it.
and I wish I were here to talk about the part where Gretchen was talking about criminal defense attorney, and I believe you said that it's Gretchen's dating strategy.
Yes,
okay,
that's right.
None of this is rehearsed. Maybe Gretchen's going to cut me off here. Do you want to tell them about the letter you once got made out to
the lawyer
lovely lawyer lady
Yeah,
Gretchen?
yeah.
Which I apologize for already.
Lovely lawyer lady Gretchen.
Did you update all online dating profiles for that
I
to
did.
be your username?
I did. And he had the most beautiful handwriting.
This
And
is
he
one
wrote-
of her. Your
Literally,
first.
yeah. He wrote me for many years.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I got out, nothing. I didn't hear a word from him since.
So he was
since he's
writing
been
you
out.
from jail.
That's right. They
Right.
were letters from prison.
Yeah.
Letters
Yep.
from prison made,
Yep.
and they were addressed to in the snail mail style.
Yep.
Lovely lawyer lady Gretchen, and they made it to Gretchen.
Gretchen, do you wish that you had a different strategy in court to prolong his stay? To
No.
get more letters?
No.
No.
No, I got
Just
enough.
seemed to be the
I got
right
enough.
amount. Right amount.
And it certainly does not speak to Gretchen's acumen as an attorney that she was that he was writing from prison.
No,
That's right.
no.
So
That might have been an inevitable.
yeah, that's
right.
who knows. So,
Right.
anyway.
We appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, legitimately, obviously, I'm a fan of what you do.
Me too, man.
You joke about the possibility of fake news coming from this desk. I don't anticipate any news coming from this desk. I hope that if we've done it right, I've actually joked to a few people that if, like, when the people ask me, what's this show about? Say, if you're looking for somebody to hold city council accountable, it's not going to be us, right? That's we legitimately want to lift the community up, focus on the positive, tell the stories, introduce people, and I think you've brought such a breath of fresh air to politics.
Isn't that a different PBS show?
That might be.
Okay.
Terry Gross.
That's one of our sponsors.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Not
We have to work it
anymore.
into every.
But I appreciate that in every interaction I've had with you, you are the same person. Like, I don't know that there's a political Wade and a community or home or way. I imagine, like you joked, Matt, that
But Sarah is
my
our
wife
next
hears
guest.
the announcer voice.
So-
My wife?
Like,
Yeah.
it's always Mayor Wade. Are you Mayor Wade at home too?
I am not, though. Here's what I try to pull off at home. The United States, we don't really have titles, but in Canada they do. And I discovered early in my time as mayor that in Canada, mayors, it's hard to believe, but it's true.
Murdered.
Well, mayors are referred to in Canada as your worship. All right. So I don't require that, but I do try to
prefer
get,
it.
No, I do try to get my wife to buy into the proper honorific, and for whatever reason, she has been slow to refer to me properly as your worship. I only require it of her and Toledo City Council, and for some reason they have not. So it's not
Hasn't
Mayor.
picked up steam.
It's not Mayor Wade at home. It is your worship, though. She's again
Slow in picking it up.
she's
Yeah.
slow, but-
Yeah.
However,
Good luck with dealing with this when she sees this.
well, I'm told she's the next guest, so we're out of time. But we're not out of time for something I would like to present. You say you're not going to make news on this show. Well, perhaps this is newsworthy. I noticed that there are gaps in your
There are.
in your gaps in talent and on the bookshelf.
Yeah.
So maybe you can fill the bookshelf with what I want to give. It's not a boa. It's not a pink boa.
Oh my
but
gosh.
it is the key to the city
This
of
is
Toledo.
incredible.
Anything that was once given to Richard Nixon should be bestowed upon the three of you.
Thank you so much.
We are also big in China. So
Oh, good.
just
Like
Nixon-esque.
Richard, like Richard Nixon.
Yeah.
This is incredible.
It is incredible.
It's made at Libby Glass, and which is why I joke about Nixon. Nixon, when it was presented, he said, "This is the toughest plastic I've ever." And someone had to whisper, "It's the Glass City. It's not plastic. It's glass." So, but
it's
yes,
the Glass City.
use that. Put it next to Chris's boa.
We will.
And the goblet and the Aladdin lamp, and you'll be in good shape. So.
Thank you
Mayor,
so much,
thank
Mayor.
you.
Thank you for being here.
You're the
Thank
best.
you.
Your
Yeah,
worship.
thank you for your
we
leadership,
appreciate it.
Mr. Worship.
Your worship.
It's your
Not
worship.
Mr. Worship.
Mr.
We'll be
Worship.
right back with another episode or another final segment.
Yes.
Of the 419, powered by WGTE and presented by Wetro Wealth Management.
WGTE Public Media's Educational Services Department provides outstanding programs, services, and resources to enhance learning outcomes for students, educators, and learners of all ages. WGTE's Educational Services Department teaches parents, caregivers, and educators how to utilize educational media, children's literature, and engaging activities to help prepare young children for a happy, healthy, and bright future. From PBS Kids programming specifically designed to support the development and creativity of young children to individualized lesson plans, standards-aligned curriculum, professional development classes, community events, and family fun movie nights right here at WGTE. Our Educational Services Department shares the tools you need for you and your little ones to feel like you belong. WGTE Public Media, where you belong.
We are cruising into the finish line here on episode 1 of the 419, powered by WGTE and presented by Wetro Wealth Management.
Phew.
We did it.
That was a whirlwind. We have the key to the city, you guys.
That's right.
That is legitimately shocking.
Talk about a third season arc.
That's right. But the boa, John's glass, just the fact that all those folks are in our lives, pretty cool stuff.
I think that's been, part of the fun of this is it's an opportunity for us to, spend some time with our friends, talk about the city, talk about the things we love, promote positivity, and get to know some new people as well. I think that's where, one of the things I'm most excited about this new show is, when we were doing it as a podcast, and we started off saying we're going to do it once a month, we went to twice a month. We rotate who is bringing the surprise guest on. I'm limiting who I can bring on, but on this show we've got so much opportunity to tell so many stories as we do this Monday through Friday here on WGTE.
We're another great institution that makes this city great, WGTE.
You're going to have 3 opportunities every day to tune in and enjoy this program. At 7 a.m., the 419 is going to be launched on WGTE's YouTube channel, at 3 p.m. on FM 91, and at 6 p.m. on WGTE Connects 30.4. We'll see you next time on the 419, powered by WGTE.